And I found this leaked memo from Microsoft. You may have already seen this about an important user's experience. And this user, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but this user was trying to download Movie Maker and install it. And in this long email, he describes his experience, what he's trying to do, and so on. I'll just highlight a couple of things here just to show you what the feedback was. I'm quite disappointed. And by the way, this problem is not unique to Windows or Microsoft. It is spread throughout the software world. So this is a public thing, so I can show it to you. But later I'm going to talk about browser security and so on. But always think that this is just an example, and this applies to other software systems. So I'm quite disappointed how Windows usability has been going forward. And he goes and describes his experience. These are common complaints, actually, by normal users. How long things take and why they take so long. For example, this is so slow, it's unusable. You familiar with that? OK. So then he tries to get some help. He calls the people in charge and so on. And listen to this one. This is a typical IT response. You're trying to download from the download page, right? What else? He complained the fact another complaint about how long things take, what is taking so long, 6 minutes, and the infamous request to reboot your computer. Right? Why do we have to reboot our computers all the time? He actually does it every night, which is good by itself. All right, so his conclusion, someone decided to trash that one part that was usable. The file system no longer, this is after he's done all this. And at the end of his email, he says this, lack of usability, this blows my mind. So who did this? Who wrote this email? Bill Gates. He actually wrote this whole email. It was part of the lawsuit, that the antitrust lawsuit, and somehow someone found it and posted it online. But it's quite fun to read. But that's really what the user sees, what the user says. Done very well by Bill Gates, right? OK, so who cares about usability? Well, we always complain that software developers are not really trained in security, so they don't do security well. Well, they're not trained in usability. No one really cares about this usability. You can go get a degree, get a master's degree in security, and you would be it would be hard for you to find something that talks about the user and how to do things with an average user. Now, engineers, security engineers, as well as software engineers, are different from the average user. So really, if you want to do usability, you don't want to trust them with usability because they do certain things well when they don't do others. So my suggestion, if you're really interested in usability, is to try to find a resource who specializes in usability, who's not a geek or a computer whiz, and who has interest in the user. There's a long-running problem, not just with security, but over time, that has improved over time, is that the software developer or developers will build a system without the user's involvement, and they would give the system to the user. There's so many stories like that. And the user would say, well, this is not what I wanted, right? This is not what I asked for. So now there are different methodologies where the user is involved early in the process, You get a pilot, or you sort of get a release. If you take a look at the system, we don't want any surprises. But this whole topic of security and understanding, usability and understanding how to make that work, is still an evolving topic. There are no good answers right now, and it's not easy to apply. Okay, so a few things about the end users. Sometimes in our thinking of programming and development and doing things the right way, logically, we assume that users would respond in a logical way. If you look a lot of studies, the users don't really follow logic, not always rational. So you have to consider that in mind. Computers do, but users don't follow logic. The other thing, since if you heard of Myers-Briggs profiling, it's a sort of a knowledge base that categorizes people according to their behavioral aspects. And someone actually did the study on geeks, sort of profiled geeks or computer people, and then compared the profile to the rest of the population. He discovered that geeks are only about 7% of the population. The rest of the population are other profiles. So, but the geeks build all the systems, right? They run all the computers. So there's that cultural gap between those who actually build computers, build systems, and the rest of the population, and it's better to actually address that gap. Now, this is part of a larger problem that you may have been exposed to about what other user, what the business user think of IT. Sometimes the general consensus is that they don't think positively of the IT folks. Most of the time, they don't really know why we have an IT. Some of them think we are on a conspiracy that we mix things so hard that we all have jobs, right? Why do we have to keep babysitting these systems, right? Because they don't really understand the complexity that goes on behind the scenes, keeping things running and so on, or building software. As you will see in some of the examples, once users become conditioned to doing something, they like to do the same thing over and over again. So sometimes someone else conditioned the users to do something, and you're stuck with that. Whatever the user has been conditioned to do in the past is something, most of the time, is what you have to follow. Security education, security awareness training. So there are two opinions in the literature about that. One camp says that security awareness training actually has little value, and the other camp says that security awareness training has no value. So pretty much no one really is advocating that by security training people, you're actually going to get any benefit from it. Very little. Okay. When users are asked, what do you really want to do? Of course, most of the time, they have a job. They use software to do their job, and that's what they want to do. If they can do it securely, that's nice. But doing the job is more important than anything else, because that's the core of what they do. They want to listen to music, of course, browse the internet, watch movies, pictures. They simply really want basic stuff. They want things to work the way other things in the physical world actually work.